the curse words in that. But what struck me about it, Sean, is that at the same time I heard that video, our daughter had told us about one of her friends. And by the way, we live in a small town in the middle of Wisconsin. So I'm not talking about Berkeley or Brooklyn or San Francisco. And this young boy from a middle-class, normal family said to my daughter, "I'm ashamed to be from America." And I realized when I heard that if that kid in middle America was feeling that way, this was a cultural phenomenon with young people. That this was not just, you know, an extreme radical position of some kids in some urban, centers, or, I mean, it's spread.
And you're talking about, is this a phenomenon that I'm imagining, or is this actually real? And
real.
These kind of patriotism questions are asked in polling. And so the polling actually bears out the fact that young Americans are less patriotic than previous generations. So if we look at, Gen Z, those who were born from 1981 to 1986, and then the millennials, when you poll them in regard to their patriotism, right? So those who are 18 to 29 years old, 33% of Americans 18 to 29 years old say that they're extremely proud to be an American. Only 33%.
Only 33%.
Those numbers have come down dramatically. And so the question becomes, what's happening in America to have a new generation that's far less patriotic than older generations? And from my perspective, I think young people are inundated with messages consistently about how bad America is, how racist we are, how unfair we are. And by the way, this is the Marxist,
how horrible our founders
leftists
are. Yes.
that are promoting this idea. The only way you can remake America is if you destroy America and our founding and the idea of how great we are. And as we're doing this podcast about America, we have dogs barking outside. We have a baby that's waking up. So you're actually getting the perspective of our kitchen table. Rachel and I talking as there's chaos around us. But that's what's happening. I look at social media, the leftists on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. They have an agenda that they're feeding our kids. So they don't only just get it, in middle school and high school and college, they're getting it on social media. I mean, oftentimes before social media, you would see young people indoctrinated at the university level. But if you didn't go to the university and you went to tech school, or you just went right into the workforce, you kind of still had this patriotic, sense about you, this love of America about you, because you weren't rewired in college. Well, that era is gone. Now all kids, because they're all on social media, are being rewired with this leftist America-hating agenda.
But also in school. But also in school, Sean. So things like Howard Zinn, A People's History of the United States, which looks at American history through the prism of oppression and victimhood and race, and really was proven to be not an accurate account of American history. That's now the norm in high school. That book that used to be sort of a niche, weird thing that was taught in colleges, universities, is now being taught in high schools. And actually, you can't pass the AP history test unless you know some of that information. It's actually been part of the curriculum to the point where it's in the AP history exam. So,
but just want to quick, Howard Zinn flipped history on its head, and it was a false telling of history. And you're right.
And he was an avowed Marxist. He was a proud Marxist, and he wanted this to be part of America's curriculum.
And it was very niche. It was an alternative history. Well, to your point, this alternative fake history is now the history that's being taught in American history classes.
Correct.
The true history is not being taught, which is why you might look at, why aren't kids patriotic? Well, they've been taught through our tax dollars in schools that America is bad, it's racist, it's horrible. And to be clear, we have a mosaic of a history. We have some bad things. All countries have some bad things. We do too. But we have amazing things and people that have been born and raised in this country that have changed the world for the better, more so than any other country on earth. And they're not teaching that to our kids. They're teaching this ideology of hate and dislike.
Yeah, I mean, our kids the kids today don't have the same respect and love for our founders. The same, I mean, I remember growing up and just being in awe of them. It's when you hear the story in its entirety, it's hard not to be in awe of it. And yet they're not being told these stories. They're being taught not to be proud of our founders. And this amazing experiment of, a government by the people had never been done before. It was revolutionary. It was, it changed not just America or what became America, but it changed the world. I want to say, there's two things that are happening with this, Sean. One is you've got people like Barack Obama, Elon Omar, and others saying that critical race theory, which is essentially what this indoctrination is, that's teaching our kids to hate our country and each other, and themselves if they're white and Asian. But they're saying it's not happening. So they're trying to take, we're over the target with all these parents going to the, school board meetings and demanding to know what's going on with the curriculum and voting and pressuring their leaders to remove critical race theory curriculum from the schools. One of the reactions from the left is to say, you're imagining it's not happening. Barack Obama laughs about it, says it's a made up fake news, culture story from Fox News. It's not. The other is to say,
just can I make one point on that, Rachel?
Sure.
Because yes, Barack Obama and Elon Omar might say it's not happening, but the less sophisticated school board members or the presidents
and
of
the teachers
boards
and some of the teachers,
they're coming out and saying we want the ability to teach critical race.
Yeah, they're fighting
theory.
back. The parents saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to teach critical race theory. Oh yeah, you racist, we're going to do it."
So the left hasn't had its ideology correct. So you have Barack Obama saying it's not happening, but the school boards and the teachers are saying it is happening, and we're gonna fight to defend our right to indoctrinate kids to be little racist, and if they're white, as you said, to hate themselves.
Yeah, Barack Obama has always been very stealthy with, and that's really his gift. When he, said when he had that little slip up with Joe the plumber, remember?
Spread the wealth around.
Spread the wealth around. He walked that back. The media helped him walk that back. He's always had a very good temperature of just how much.
I forgot about Joe the plumber.
Yeah, I know. I have not. The media helped him walk that back. It was a little bit of a slip up. He's always been very stealth. And he's always done it under the radar because he never wanted to get he wanted to avoid what we're seeing in the school boards right now with the teachers. He wanted to avoid that sort of, pushback. And so anyway, there's another thing that's happening. There are other people who are seeing this decline in patriotism and saying, yeah, there's a decline in patriotism, but it's not really what you think. So they're saying things like, I pulled this out of an article that was talking about this. They said, well, it says, when it comes to the flag as a symbol, a public opinion poll conducted by the Foundation for Liberty and American Greatness suggests that young people see the flag less as a symbol to be proud of and more as a symbol of what is wrong with the country. So they're saying it's not just that it's not about patriotism, that they're just pointing out what's wrong with the country. And that is not a bad thing, they said. That just explains that they're just concerned about the future. And they see the flag as, something we need to work towards, some improving America. I totally disagree. What I see is that in addition to teaching kids.
For the full podcast, go to foxnewspodcast.com.